Hello and welcome to Pioneer Web TV News. I'm Allison R. Moore.
And I'm Chris McBride. In breaking news, the California Faculty Association is picketing on both ends of the campus as we speak.
Fed up with the administration's failed promises, many members of the CFA from all over Northern California have kept their promise and are here today to take action.
Members in the faculty union were supposed to receive a 15% increase in their salary over the last 4 years. Instead, the administration allotted themselves a 23% salary increase and rejected the suggestion of a 4% salary increase by a federal mediator. Also, the administration recently denied a 1.3% faculty pay raise endorsed by a state-appointed fact-finding panel. The CSU and the University of California systems have yielded $650 million cuts in state funding this fiscal year and could be expecting another $100 million mid-year cut in funding if revenue falls below projections. In the meantime, undergraduate tuition for all 23 CSU campuses have increased by 23% in the last year.
Civil rights scholar and philosopher Cornel West has also taken action at the picket lines in support of the CFA. Originally, Dr. West was slated to speak in the University Theater this evening. Let's check out a short promo on Dr. West.
Dr. Cornel West will be visiting Cal State East Bay on November 17th to speak at the University Theater at 6:30 p.m.
From 1980 to 2008, you had wealth running amok, especially at the top, increasing wealth inequality, stagnating wages for workers, vicious attacks on trade unions, and zones of abandonment, killing fields, hoods of suffering in poor communities that were generating unbelievable levels of social misery.
The history is that community members are the ones who fought to get ethnic studies here on campuses. And so it's very excited to hear the community excited about having Dr. West come out. He's been such a strong voice on issues of race in America, a figure that stood with people all the time.
I look at America, I look at the Middle East, I look at Asia, I look at Africa, I look at any part of the world through the lens of suffering and struggling poor and working people.
Dr. West is a professor at Princeton University, an author, philosopher, and civil rights activist. He has written 19 books, including Democracy Matters, Race Matters, and Brother West, Living and Loving Out Loud.
Dr. West is important to me because he does work on issues of race and identity, and he does a lot of work in particular around the issue of black leadership in his book Race Matters, which I use for the history of African American cinema, which I teach here.
The event on November 17th will be free for Cal State East Bay students. There is a $5 charge without a student ID. It's sure to be an interesting discussion, so don't miss it.
Welcome back. In other news, the Occupy movement broke the Western threshold in Oakland last month. Political activism has spread throughout the rest of the Bay Area, even to our own campus. Many people from all around have traveled to join others at Occupy Oakland, including one of our CSU East Bay professors. Pioneer Web TV News reporter Justin Collins has more.
The Occupy movement is an international protest phenomena whose purpose is to declare social and economic equality. Since its induction this past summer, the Occupy movement has spread to many major cities and financial centers throughout the country, including New York City, as well as San Francisco and Oakland. Arguably, the most dynamic and volatile Occupy demonstrations have taken place right here in the Bay Area. Standing amidst this international movement is our campus's very own Professor Scott Hopkins, whom has been actively partaking and camping out at the Occupy Oakland site for the past 2 weeks. Last night, I sat down with Professor Hopkins to discuss his thoughts on the Occupy movement.
Yes, I think it's an important part of democracy which has been neglected for a long time. Occupy work sometimes in different activities. It's a very, with the kitchen, and they have a solar panel set up and building and things like that. And they have a really interesting meeting style where they try to, they have a GA like 3 times a week, General Assembly, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they try to reach like a 80 or 90% agreement on different proposals. Last Monday night, people from Occupy Berkeley came over and they asked, they explained what they were doing and asked if we would support them, and we said yes. But they have a voting system, thumbs up, thumbs down, and then also if you like an idea, you go like this. If you don't like it, you go like this. And they have, if somebody says something and you just want to add some facts, you kind of go like this, and that means you're going to add some facts but not interrupt. And they call it stacks. You get people waiting to talk. They, instead of a line, they say stack, and so it's actually very organized and very democratic at the same time.
The Occupy movement has steadfastly become one of the most prolific equal rights demonstrations in recent memory, with 99% of 312 Americans suffering from issues ranging from unemployment to poor health care. The potential for additional participation is staggering. Occupy protesters such as our campus's own Professor Scott Hopkins have given new life to the pursuit of equality in America, meanwhile sending a reality check to the corporate officials who retain financial superiority in our country. For Pioneer Web TV, I'm Justin Collins.
Thanks, Justin. Watch out for more political activism across the Bay Area this week with a possible Occupy Wall Street movement here in downtown Hayward on A Street.
The 2011-2012 athletic year marks the 50th anniversary for Pioneer Athletics. This year, the Pioneers welcome in a new era with the blueprints of past successes and accomplishments to build upon. Here's Amanda Zepeda with the story.
Since 1961, Pioneer Athletics has been exciting the Cal State East Bay campus. In its first official year in Division II, the 50th anniversary celebration couldn't have come at a better time. Since its humble beginnings, the Pioneers have won a total of 6 national championships. Cal State East Bay has produced over 160 All-Americans and has won 77 conference championships in NCAA Divisions II and III, as well as in the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. This year, Cal State East Bay officially embarks on a new journey with Pioneer Athletics Director Debbie DeAngelis continuing to lead the way.
It's a really exciting time in athletics. Not only is it our first year back in Division II, but to be the 50th anniversary of the program. It's particularly exciting because the first team here was a men's basketball team in 1961-62, and 15 of those 17 guys are still alive and expecting to be back in our gym for homecoming.
With the Pioneers volleyball team wrapping up their season over the weekend, the fall season of sports has officially come to an end on a high note. Under the direction of veteran coach Jim Spagel, the volleyball team finished the season in 5th place with a 16-11 overall record. The men's and women's cross-country teams entered their first year under the direction of new head coach Ralph Jones, in which the women's team took home 2 first-place showings for the season. The men's and women's soccer teams were in full throttle over the fall, and the Pioneer swim team is currently in full gear, with newcomer and nationally ranked swimmer Jenna Lopez leading the way.
We've been competing in Division II for 2 years without being eligible for championships. That's a difficult thing to recruit to, because even though we can offer you a scholarship, we still can't offer you the opportunity for postseason play. Now we have both, but that really means that this is still kind of the bottom step that we're going to be climbing. And over the next 4 to 5 years, I think the recruiting will change significantly. The level of the athletic play, you say, will change significantly. That being said, we've got some teams that are already being incredibly successful. In particular, water polo and volleyball have already had success. Volleyball in the CCAA, water polo is not in the CCAA, it's in a multi-divisional conference. So they are actually competing against Division I teams and making the rankings in Division I with Division I teams, and they're one of 2 or 3 Division II teams in the country that's even done that. CCAA across the board is a really, really difficult conference. Pomona won the Division II National Championship 2 years ago. We're going to be playing them for homecoming. it's going to be a big step up, but I think both teams are positioning themselves to be going to the tournament. 8 teams go to the tournament out of 12, so you've got to be making that step up, and the men and the women, I think, are both capable of doing it. Both Coach Barkham and Coach Biggs have really prepared their teams. I thought I was at a tennis match on basketball on Friday night with the men. They are so fast, and that court is just popping. You got to come out and see it.
With East Bay sports in full swing this year, Cal State East Bay reflects on 50 years of Pioneer athletics with nothing but high expectations on the horizon. For Pioneer Web TV News, this is Amanda Cepeda.
Thanks, Amanda. With the fall season in the books, the Pioneers look forward to the winter session of sports with basketball and swimming already underway and water polo and golf set to open their season in January. That wraps up another edition of Pioneer Web TV News. I'm Chris McBride.
And I'm Allison R. Moore. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.